For my next magic trick, I'm going to do this entire episode with my eyes closed. No, I promise they're closed behind these glasses. All right, let's start the show. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of FYC Film Review. I'm your host, Gagne, and with me, my partner in crime, Naldo. How are you, buddy?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm loving your cold opens, man. I hope people like them
Thank you.
too.
Thank you. I'm trying. I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm no, stand up. I'm no, I don't know, whoever stand up you like. But before we get into it, big shout out to everybody who commented on our review, all the suggestions that came through. Super appreciative of that. And that leads us to what we're going to cover today. What are we covering?
Oh my gosh. Okay. We're gonna be covering a movie that was recommended to us by all of you guys, called Andhadhun. And I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it right. I really am. I apologize, but I think it's pronounced Andhadhun. And I think, and if I could be mistaken, I'm sure someone's gonna correct me, but I think it meant blind note. So
That's what I read too. And
yeah.
obviously we were watching this on Netflix and in subtitles, and I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, in its original language, which I thought was great.
Yes. Yeah. I hope the translation in the subtitles, came through, but I didn't feel like I struggled through any of that when I was, watching the movie. So everything seemed to make sense. And there were no parts that I was like, I don't think they got the translation right here. So
yeah. I didn't struggle. It was great. I was hooked. I mean, this is a dark comedy. I would call it a dark comedy with some really sweet moments in it.
Yeah.
And boy, am I glad we watched this. So thank you everybody for recommending this movie. So it's about Akash, this guy who does this experiment, and he just decides doesn't want to see. He wants to be blind, and it's like an experiment because he's an artist. And by doing so, everybody kind of gravitates towards him. I mean, he's lying, and he just happens to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. In this movie, it's just really bad luck for him. I felt bad for the guy.
I did and didn't. So I love the premise, the
Okay.
idea, and I loved the fact that we got this build up to why he was doing it. So for a long time, you don't really know, why is he pretending to be blind? And I was, hoping and, was going to be for, some selfish reasons or anything like that. But yeah, the fact that he's a tortured artist, and he felt he would be a better pianist if he worked on doing it without, playing the piano without sight.
Because his senses were enhanced, right? Is that what it was?
Yeah. You're feeling the music more and listening. Yeah, I get it. You can't take it too seriously, and so I guess in a way, like you feel bad, but you don't feel bad. Like you're like, okay, he kind of brought this on himself, right?
Right. That's what I'm saying. So so you felt bad, but at the same time, you're like, this dude's lying to everybody. He's basically lying to everybody for his experiment, but he's also getting stuff in return. He's getting these jobs. He's got this job. He got this apartment because he's blind. So they're catering to him. So in that sense, you're kind of like, well, dude, you're lying. Yes, you're cool, but you're lying.
So we get into the nitty gritty of it. He gets invited to play a private show, right, at the residence of a popular actor and his wife. And he, I guess, doesn't witness the murder, but he knows that
he does witness it, though. No, you're right. He doesn't witness.
He witnesses the cover up.
Yeah.
And
you're right.
And that's where he plays along. Yeah, because he's. I get it. Like, I understood why he played along. Like, he can't say something. Like, you literally just see a murder. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, right? Yeah, I'm gonna keep pretending to be blind. But what I love so much about that scene was the music he was playing almost translated to like a suspense filled, who done it of like, okay, I'm just playing along for these people, but it was almost this like tense, mystery kind of feel to the music.
Nail on the head, my friend. I saw that. I'm like, he's basically playing the soundtrack for what's happening. And at times it felt like it was a silent movie, like you're watching this silent movie where he's playing the piano and then the people in the background are covering this murder, so they have to be really quiet. That scene where he notices the body on the floor, my jaw just dropped. I'm like, oh, okay, this is where we're going with it.
Yeah.
So it was a really great scene, really great scene. I just want to go back to where he was at the bar when I think Sophie, that's her name in the
Mhm.
background, and he plays his first song, and I think it's called Innocent Eyes. I love that song, man. I don't really know what they're saying, right? But I'm listening to it and listening to it, and I really like listening to it in its original language. This movie has great music. Aside from the music in its language, the piano playing is fantastic. It's amazing.
Yeah. Apologize if I didn't do my homework on this. I'm hoping this was his voice, but I loved his voice. Like
Yes. Yeah, I don't know either.
I was like, cool, more like the fact that this is, about a piano player and like you get to see
Yeah.
different, performances by him throughout the movie in different situations. I loved it. Yeah, I loved his voice. And man, this, like I said, I can fawn over this movie for a while. When the wife of
The actor.
the actor,
Yeah.
who is having an affair and is trying to
With
cover
the
up this
chief of
murder
police.
with the chief of police, when she goes and she goes to Akash's apartment and
Yeah.
tries to figure out if he's really blind or not because she's got
Yeah.
the suspicion. When she put the screen mask on, I actually
Yeah.
jumped a little bit.
Really?
I wasn't expecting that, and so like when it
Okay.
happened, I was like, "What the? Oh
Yeah.
yeah!" Like I just it totally threw me, and I loved it because I started laughing instantly. Like, oh man, she's pulling out all stops to like really see if he's blind.
Yeah, she's evil. She's the only sweet
Yeah,
one in this was Sophie. She really cared about him. I mean, I'm sure he cared about her too, but she was kind
sure.
of like the only one that was, had a level headed and was the only kind of
Yeah,
nice one in the movie.
yeah.
So, yeah, all the twists and turns are fantastic. It's like you go from one problem, which creates another problem, which creates another problem, and another problem, and then that scene that you're calling out where she goes to his apartment. And then she actually blinds him with the poison. I'm just like, oh
Mhm.
my gosh, okay. It just keeps getting worse for this guy.
Yeah, it's again, there was so much clever moments because when they're sitting down to have tea, you expect that she's going to put the poison in the tea.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I hadn't even thought that she had already fed him something.
The
And so,
offering.
yeah, and so
Yeah,
I forgot, and I'm sitting down, and I'm like, aha, like jokes on you. He knows
yeah.
that you're putting poison in, and I'm like, oh my god, that's right, she already fed him. Like it just there were so many clever moments like that that just kept me going throughout the entire film. The Tell me why I laughed so hard at, I think it was Sophie, when she's leaving Akash's apartment after she
And
finds
she
out that he's blind, and
slaps
she slaps the
that
kid. I
kid.
was like, yes,
That
that's
poor kid.
hilarious. That kid
Yeah.
deserved it. He was trying to swindle everybody for cash.
Oh, he was, yeah. She just took her hand and said,
Oh, so good.
yeah, and then you get to that scene where he meets the doctor and that lady and the driver, and all of them are shady, man. They got this scam where they're just, well, there's a plot, right? Because the sheik, for some country, his daughter has a rare blood disorder, and
She's
his
kidneys,
wife
right?
had it, yeah, or something like that,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like everybody's playing each other in this movie. You never know if everybody's in cahoots or if he's actually, against everybody. So again, it kept me on my toes. It was great. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I agree. The connective like characters throughout the movie, like that start showing up, like that woman who had the forearm tattoo, that she's like, how did he know that, I had this tattoo?
Yeah.
And so they like ease back on, taking his kidneys, and now they want to use him to, swindle somebody else. Really great cast of characters. Like there wasn't a character in this movie that I didn't appreciate or love.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Let's get to the finale, because this finale is very it's kind of open ended, and
Yeah,
it's reminded me of kind of in a way of like a Christopher Nolan film, right?
sure.
At the end, okay, so spoilers if you haven't seen it. Spoilers at the end, we realize that Akash, his eyesight's back, right? When he kicks the can with his cane.
It is,
So
right? That's what I feel
yeah,
like that's what you say is an interpretation. Did he know there was a can? Obviously he wouldn't have known there was a can there if he was blind,
no,
right? So he's got to
yeah,
be, you have to see.
he's got his eyesight back, but you got to connect it all with the rabbit, the hair, and everything. So it's, and his cane also had a rabbit on top of it. I don't know if you noticed that. So
I
it's almost like it was like, what's that movie? Usual Suspects at the end, where everything's kind of made up. I think there's a point where something's made up and something didn't happen. My question was, he didn't have to lie to Sophie at the end again.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know. I'm sure everybody can have their own interpretation, and I would love to hear what you guys thought of it. But I just didn't understand why he had to lie to Sophie again.
Yeah. Did he want to keep the lie going? Or, I mean, I guess it wasn't a lie. So he at one point does tell her like he's
Right.
really blind, but she's like, I'm done with you. Right.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if because of that, like the heartbreak, that he was just like, whatever, I'm going to keep the lie going.
Yeah.
Because he was basically out there lying anyway. Like, why? Maybe because he actually got to be the musician, he wanted to go back to the pretending to be blind again to play well. I was more interested about the hair. Like, was he aware that ultimately saved his life? The hair jumps in front of onto the car and swerves and misses him. So, like, did he know? Like,
did that ever even happen though? Did that even happen?
You don't think it happened?
But the doctor died, right? So in that story, the doctor dies. The only way for him to get his eyesight back was for the doctor, right? So did he make up that whole story? I don't know.
It's wild.
This is like, it's confusing, but it's great.
It's wild because it unfolds instantly, and you're like, wait, there's so many questions.
Right.
But I loved how they skip almost as if we're ending the movie, and the doctor and him are riding off, and they're gonna go do that. And then they show you what really happened. So that's my assumption, is that it really happened.
Okay.
But then again, how did he
get his eyesight back? So it's almost like,
and that's good.
Was he just telling a lie? So this whole movie is just a lie, right?
What's the lie? The story of him becoming blind?
The lie is the story of the doctor being killed and the rabbit jumping in front. Because if the doctor had died, how did he get his eyesight back?
Okay. I see.
I could be wrong. That's how I took it, but
that's actually a good interpretation. I didn't see it that way, but I see what you're saying now, and I think that does make sense. So I didn't think about that at the time, but that's an interesting take. So that's his story of why he's still blind. He didn't.
Right.
This happened, and I didn't get my eyesight back. And so, but he did get his eyesight back. I get it. I get it. Right? I got you. That's clever. I love it.
Yeah. Let's rate it. This is a good movie. You want to rate it?
Yeah. What do we want to go with?
Innocent eyes, right? Let's go with eyes. How many
eyes are we going to give this?
How many eyes? All right. On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 eye being really bad, 5 eyes being just a great film. So, who wants to go first? You want to go first?
I'll go first. I'm on board. Like, show me more from this director. This, the cast. I had so much fun with this movie. I'm a big fan of those dark comedies where there's some bombastic things happening, but ultimately it's like people getting in their own way, and you kind of laugh because there's so much uncomfortable things happening. This was fantastic, and I loved that someone recommended it so that we could check it out. I'm at a 4.
Okay.
I'm at a 4. I liked it a lot. And I'm gonna have to go back now and kind of watch it and see if I can catch some stuff that I didn't see the first time around, and see if that changes the story.
Okay, so 4 eyes. You're a 4 eyes type of guy.
Yeah, like
what a nerd.
Wearing glasses, get it?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
I'm right there with you, my friend. I am gonna go with the 4 eyes as well for me. I really, really enjoyed this film. I love the fact that it was a dark comedy, but it also interjected really sweet moments with Akash and Sophie. So I really like those moments. I love the music in this. I am loving this music. So the piano playing was fantastic. I would love to see more from this director, even from this actor. Just fantastic. So a 4 eyes. For me, highly recommended. Thank you everybody for recommending this one, and I'm so happy we watched it. Our eyes are open to Indian cinema, and it's fantastic.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah, there's a lot of hidden gems that I feel like we're going to start uncovering. So I'm really appreciative to everybody that's tuned in and told us and shared their love of these films. But that's all we got for today. We will see you next time. We appreciate you watching FYC Film Review. I'm your host, Gagne. With me, my partner, Naldo.
Yep. Stick with us, guys. We're going to try to get another one out next month. So thank you. Be patient with us. And we're going to try to get all in. There's just so many that you guys have recommended, but we really appreciate it. All right. We'll see you guys later.
Later.